Well, it finally appears that the disgraced BBC presenter, you know the one I mean, yes, the former failed pop star, and of course Match of the Day presenter Gary Lineker is now hoofing off the BBC, and they're very proudly letting you know that he's not going with a huge payment. Unlike, of course, that other huge gaffe that the Director General Tim Davie made with the disgraced BBC presenter, yes, Hugh Edwards. Hugh's not giving the money back. I keep reminding them of that. Despite those feeble attempts of sending an email to his former agent and indeed to him directly, Hugh claims it's his money and he sided in good faith. And get this, I don't know if you know this, but there was no morality clause based inside that particular contract because they had such belief that you would never let the corporation down. Incredible, isn't it, when you think? Gary Lineker, though, apparently, well, he's worth $1 million. Let me explain. Morning, chums. Nice to see you. Thank you so much for your time today. Nice to have your company. We'll have a lovely wave. Yeah, Gary Lineker, right? One of the most successful business people. You might be shocked by this, but he owns a very, very successful podcast company. And he sort of got in at the beginning, and it's proven to be a gold mine. You know, most of the podcasts, the big podcasts that you're listening to, do come from his company. So stepping away from Match of the Day and perhaps not selling as many crisps as he used to is not really a big problem. People were rejoicing because, Gary, they wanted him out of the BBC. Now, as I've told you before, I met Mr. Lineker, and strangely enough, I ended up being his makeup artist when he came to my studio, simply because the company that had booked him didn't want to pay for a makeup artist. He had a bit of a hissy fit, wanted some powder, so suddenly I had to whip out the Max Factor and put a cape over him, a little bit like Batman sat in the chair. Was he grateful? Let's just say it was an uneventful meeting, you know. I think the bigger thing, and I've mentioned this before, is the fact that he spurned the opportunity to let some young kids, studio technicians, have a picture with him. He just sneaked out the door after promising. So you see the sort of character that Mr. Lineker, in my opinion, is. But here's where this gets interesting, because there's very much this thing of he's leaving with no money. Now, also, apparently he turned down £1 million from the very same publisher that Prince Harry had that mega deal with for his book Spare, Penguin Random House. And this would have been to tell all about his time at the BBC, fallouts with various people. Could fill a reasonable book, one would imagine. And for dedicated sports fans, I'm sure it would be a very big seller. But now, according to a very well-placed source, Penguin Random House have upped the offer, not just once, but twice. So keen they are to get Gary to make sure he has a book out in what they call the very big period in around October time, the push up to Christmas. Now, I truly believe that whether you like him or not, he would sell a lot of books. And according to his agent and him, he's fielding off lots of offers from television who still want him to take the place doing various sporting events. There certainly won't be the mega bucks that the BBC are able to throw at him because television is literally crumbling. So there would be very much sort of, shall we say, choice cuts of what he fancies doing. But either way, if the BBC felt they could wave a flag saying, we've saved you all this money, well, eventually somebody in the book world at least, or documentary world like Amazon, will crumble and Gary will speak. And whether the BBC feel free from his clutches of his own personal thoughts, truly they need to think again. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.